Help. I've lost all perspective. Would you believe this, or am I naive? My story is different than some others here, and at least so far maybe not as bad as others. But the pain and confusion I am experiencing is exactly what so many others are expressing in their posts. I'm confused and have lost all perspective. I don't know what to think anymore. Backstory: I'm the husband 40s and my wife is 40s F, married since our early 30s. 2 grade school kids. Marriage has been great. Wife deals with depression and related mental health issues, but it's always been managed. A few years ago, however, the meds stopped working, she fell into a dark place, gained a lot of weight that made her even more unhappy, and was generally in that vacant depressed state for a couple years. It was rough. But about a year ago, a new med combo and commitment to health helped her turn around, get back to her old vibrant personality, and lose the weight. So for the past year, things have been great, maybe even better than ever. She's very loving and fun, and yes, the S-time is great too. No complaints. How I found out my POV: wife recently went out of state to visit family. She always stays in an unoccupied guest house owned by a relative. This is not uncommon, and I've never had any reason to question her activities. Friday night she goes to dinner with a friend, Kathy, that she hasn't seen for 10 years. 2 hours later she texts me that she is home and going to bed. Not unusual. Saturday night after dinner she texts, saying that she is again tired and turning in early. Sunday morning she sends me a short S-timey video, a close-up of her masturbating along with hearts and I miss you texts. This is not unusual. However, I notice the location stamp on the video shows it was made at a hotel nowhere near the house she's staying at. I sit on this info for a couple hours until I know she's back at the house and can talk. I ask if she's been staying at the house. She says yes, lie. I ask if she's been staying at a hotel. She says no, lie. I tell her about the location stamp. She says that hotel is near where she had dinner the other night, so maybe somehow her phone thinks she's still at that location, lie. At this point, I'm not angry or accusing, but I know something is up. After a moment she admits that she lied and has something to tell me, but that it's not that bad, her exact words. Classic minimizing. I tell her I want to know every detail. She tells me this story. Wife's story for incident 1, she met her old friend, a woman named Kathy, for dinner at a nice restaurant at a downtown hotel. Over dinner, Kathy has many drinks and may have even showed up on drugs or something, and my wife has 3 glasses of wine. Note: wife is an infrequent drinker and a lightweight who gets drunk on half a cocktail. They talk. Kathy is in a bad marriage and afraid of her abusive husband. Kathy is nervous to go home tonight. It's now 10 p.m. The restaurant is closing. My wife realizes that Kathy doesn't have much money, so my wife pays for dinner and drinks. At this point my wife texts me saying she's home and going to bed. A lie. My wife knows she is too drunk to drive and is worried for her friend, so she books a hotel room at the hotel for Friday, and Saturday night they go up to the room. They talk for a couple more hours about many things. My wife brings up the topic of doing things with other women. Note: I know my wife has done some S-time experimenting with women on a couple occasions prior to our marriage. No big deal. Wife and Kathy share their past experiences. Kathy asks if she can kiss my wife. My wife says yes, expecting just a short peck, but Kathy shoves her tongue in my mouth and they make out tongue kissing with my wife's arms around Kathy. Kathy's arms around my wife, gripping her BTT. After about 5 minutes my wife pulls away, saying that it doesn't feel right, and that they shouldn't do this. Kathy agrees. They get in the king bed together, clothes on, and talk a couple more hours until falling asleep. Of the kiss, my wife says that she liked it, but not in a S-time way. And she was just caught up in the moment. Saturday morning my wife calls me but doesn't tell me what happened because she's ashamed and embarrassed. Saturday my wife visits her family. That's true. After dinner Saturday, wife texts that she is tired and going to bed early. Another lie. Instead, she goes back to the hotel, but she told Kathy that they can't be physical. They talk all evening again, and sleep together in the king bed with pajamas on. No physical stuff. Sunday morning, my wife sends me loving texts and a 10 seconds video of her masturbating. My wife explained that she had to take the video quick while Kathy was in the bathroom and that's why it was short. They check out of the hotel Sunday morning. A couple hours later we talk. Wife tells me that her friend Kathy is not someone she wants to be friends with anymore because Kathy is not the person she used to be and she feels uncomfortable continuing to be friends with her. This is when I talk to my wife about the location stamp of the video at the hotel and she goes through the lies I laid out above, until finally confessing she cancels the rest of her trip and books the next plane home. Questions about Incident 1. Would you believe my wife's story? I have questions. If she really was too drunk to drive and just innocently worried about her friend, then why lie at all? Instead of lying, just tell me that you are too drunk and worried about your friend so you're going to get a room for the night. What is there to hide at that point? If the hotel was for the friend's safety, then why go back to spend the night Saturday night? It's a lot of lies, denial and minimizing to cover up something that otherwise wouldn't be that big of a deal. It's the lies that hurt more than the actual event, assuming my wife's version of events is true. And I might have believed her story, until Incident 2, my wife gets home Monday. We talk. I tell her it's hard for me to accept her story. I lay out my questions and her answers boil down to, it was easier to lie than to explain, I just got caught up in the moment, I don't know why I lied, it was a stupid mistake. She does seem remorseful. I tell her the lies hurt more than the actual events, and that I'm bothered by the fact that I only found out because I caught her. So I'm assuming this isn't the only indecent. She swears she has told the whole truth about the weekend and that there have been no other past incidents. I don't let it go. I just keep calmly pressing her to reveal any other secrets she's holding on to. Over and over she keeps saying there is nothing more to tell. And it turns out each denial was another lie because of course there was more. After a long awkward silence, she tells me this story. Wife's story for Incident 2. She starts the story: just so you know, this was just a small stupid thing, again minimizing. Earlier this year, June, when she was again out of town on vacation visiting family, she was alone in her room. She gets a message from Tom, an old high school friend, who lives many states away from where she was at the time. Tom compliments a post noting how great she is looking. They chat about old days and eventually start flirting over text. It's just one of those things that happened, no one really started it. They both masturbate to orgasm while time chatting. No phone call, no pictures or video exchanged. The next day, she reaches out to him again just to talk, but he tells her he regrets chatting with her behind his wife's back and blocks her. She knows it was wrong, and doesn't want to tell me because she worries I'll be upset, so she's been carrying this lie around for 3 months, wondering if and how to tell me. Where I am now, again, the lies hurt worse than the actual events. She again swears that these 2 events are everything. Swears there is nothing else. For her part, for the past 2 days she's apologized profusely, repeatedly acknowledged that trust has been broken, has been extremely communicative about everything she is doing, where she's going, who she's talking to, what she's looking at online. She has offered to turn on location tracking on her phone so I can see where she is at all times, which I declined. And we've had time Tuesday morning and this morning Wednesday since she came back home. Part of me wants to believe her and just move on, rebuilding the trust that was broken by the lies. Another part of me's screaming, you moron. There's clearly more she's not telling you. And her behavior makes it clear that, given the opportunity, she'll do more in the future. Even if I wanted to believe her version of events, at this point there's no way I can ever believe there's not more to tell. I'd be a fool to believe her. She's operating right out of the cheater's handbook. She'd need both events. Then when she admitted they happened, she downplayed them. Now I believe I'm just being fed a trickle truth of a couple not so bad events. I've lost perspective on how believable her version of events are. Just looking for an outside perspective from people who might understand. Edit, I appreciate all the replies. Thank you all for the outside perspective. Update in comments below. Redditor's reactions update after. Redditor 1, she is trickle-truthing you. All these are lies. Reach out to Kathy. Reach out to Tom. Find out the truth. But don't accept the lies. Op answer, yep. Every day she's finally told me everything, and yet the next day there's more. Feels more like floodgate truthing. Redditor 2, I would dig around the time she became depressed. I would almost bet there is another incident there, maybe her first act of infidelity. Op answer, you know, for the depressed stretch, which had overlap with the COVID times, my gut says she actually wasn't seeing anyone then due to my knowledge of our living situation and some other personal details. But this year, oh boy, the gates were open. There's so much she's done behind my back in such a short time that I'm actually impressed she was able to pull it all off. Redditor 3, tell your wife you made an appointment at the polygraph. If there are things in her story that need fixing, now is the time? If she doesn't come out clean from the polygraph, you'll continue with the lawyer. Kathy can go with Tom or anyone else. Op answer, I actually did look up polygraph operators in my area. She's been trickled through than me for days. I actually felt like I was getting to a place where I had finally heard the true versions of many incidents, but there were still a few details here or there I didn't add up. The polygraph was one of the last things I brought up, and that's the point at which she finally filled in all those last missing details. Update. Am I allowed to lie now for my benefit? My wife of many years went on a rampant cheating spree this year that I know of, and Lord knows what else happened prior that I don't know about. I'm in contact with a divorce attorney and preparing for divorce. In the meantime, we are still living together with our 2 kids. My wife is desperate to reconcile, seemingly, at least for now. She is going over the top to show regret and kindness toward me, reading books about how to support your spouse after cheating, literally groveling at my feet and doing anything I ask. I know this is not sustainable, but I gotta admit it's nice for the moment. So here's what I want to do. I want to lie and tell her that I would like to reconcile, when really I'm just buying myself time to get ready for the divorce. The way I see it, this lie gets me the following. 1. I control the narrative. I control the timeline. Insofar as there's any control left for me to have after what happened. We split when I say we split. This will also give me time to continue to process what happened and get closure I'm not sure I'd get if we just split immediately. 2. I get time to prepare assets for divorce. I can organize my things under the guise of cleaning. I can establish new bank accounts for myself that I won't tell her about. I can secure a place to live, etc., so that when the paperwork drops, I'm ready to go. 3. And yes, There's a vengeful part of me that hopes she really does want to reconcile and will be hurt when she is served and finds out that it isn't going to happen. But this would just be a bonus on top of the above benefits. I know two wrongs don't make a right, but I don't see how this lie is anything but good for me. A voice in my head says if you lie, then you are no better than her, but to that I say, after what she did, I have no duty to be better than her. I owe her nothing. So, should I lie for my benefit? Redditor's reactions, story 2 after. Redditor 1, first of all, this side of her where she shows full-fledged remorse and wants to reconcile will be just short-lived. As soon as she sees what she really would have to do to reconcile years and years of work, she will lose patience and be back at her affairs. And yes, you are allowed to lie, she started that war. Finish it. This wasn't a one-night stand. That woman is a disgusting, lying, deceiving person. Blindside her as she blindsided you. It won't heal you, but it will feel a little good. This is no Disney movie, just ducking. Protect yourself under all costs. Did she ever say why? Redditor 2, looking after your own best interests is never a bad idea. After all, she didn't take them into account while she was cheating on you. Redditor 3, you do whatever you need to do to heal. Whatever it takes. It is called surviving infidelity for a reason. Not get over infidelity. The enemy is literally the closest person to you known. That person murdered the wife that you knew via cheating. There is no hold barred when it comes to surviving. Do what you have to do. Story 2, wife 44 always hanging out with her guy co-worker 60 and texting and calling. He expressed his interest in her and she told him no via text and showed me. She says she has never ever discussed us with him. I saw texts where she discussed us. After work he will walk her to the grocery store or store. He will buy her snacks at work and after work. He will text her at work and tell her what time his break is at and ask what station she's working at. They will call each other and text on days off, but she will tell me he is the one texting her and she doesn't like it. Days off she will update him of her errands. She talks about him after work saying thongs like he thinks he can be with me, him so much younger, if in was to be with an older man he would have to be rich handsome etc, not him. She even mentioned she's told her mom about this friend and her mom's response was like no. When she's heading back home on the work shuttle which she also rides she won't answer my calls saying she was napping. She showed me the texts telling him off. But not the ones she was discussing us, but swears she's never discussed us to him. Thoughts? Redditor's reactions. Redditor 1, so, she implied she's only refusing him, because he ain't rich and her mom said no. The disrespect, lack of communication and even the classic sorry I fell asleep was napping, all the red flags, my dude. At this point, I'd present an ultimatum. And would go have a talk with the old guy too. Redditor 2, I don't think this is an emotional affair. I think she likes his undivided attention. I think she also likes telling everyone about it. Oh, silly old man, like he has a chance with me. I think your attention isn't enough for this star of a sad little world. She wants his attention, and she wants everyone to know she is wanted. She also thrives on stirring the acid. Maybe she's having a midlife crisis. But I get major I peaked in high school vibes off of her. You are just a member of her tiny audience. I'd ignore her about this. It's so pathetic. Redditor follow-up, this is it 100%. She likes feeling wanted, and she likes being able to tell people about being wanted. I think there is 0% chance that anything meaningful is happening between them. She would be a lot more secretive if it were. I think she hasn't been pursued in a while, she's enjoying the ego boost, and this won't go anywhere because she isn't actually into him, she's just into the attention. I would either ignore this until it goes away, or make little comments about how it's sweet that he's so into her, it's flattering he has good taste. She'll get bored and pull back from him eventually, this will pass. Redditor 3, okay, she probably likes the attention. Tell her to block the guy on social media if she really wants to get rid of him. Also go and pick her up and talk to the guy directly. Tell him that you're not exactly pleased with his behavior. Redditor 4, she belongs to the streets. Redditor 5, I went through something a little similar to this, my friend. My advice is simple. You need to look at the fact that she is not being completely honest with you. Why would a wife not be completely honest with her husband? The honest answer is that she is hiding something from you that she knows is not right. At this moment it seems like an emotional affair, but those change to physical in a matter of weeks to a month. When I suspected my ex of it, I went into her phone and found the proof. Of course she used all of the lines cheaters use and promised that she broke it off, but 2 weeks later she was back to acting strange again. At this point I installed a spyware that runs undetected on the phone, and it not only confirmed my suspicion, but it gave me a mountain of evidence to show her family and the partner's wife. Most guys say that they hate to spy and that it makes them feel bad, but knowing the truth and being prepared for blindsiding is worth way more than pride and losing everything. The spyware showed every call made and received, spelt out all texts sent and received, showed every picture taken with the phone, and even had GPS location in real time. I truly feel for you, brother, because I know the pain of uncertainty, and the mental anguish of the situation and wondering. Your first priority is yourself and protecting yourself from a blindsiding, because her not being truthful and respecting your wishes shows where her head is at. I wish you the best of outcomes, my friend, and feel free to reach out if you need to talk, because it's always best to talk to those who have been through it and knows the pain of these situations firsthand. Redditor 6, well, it's your choice. Time to decide whether you are comfortable with the affair or not. If not, let her know you are contacting a lawyer and she can move out until she decides to end it. Redditor follow-up, I don't even understand how people even give the other person a chance to end it. It's so embarrassing to even still want to be with that person after disrespecting you.